Hello, my fellow movie fans, and welcome to the new adventures of A Feast of Films Theatre, with your hosts, Jesse Prosser and Ethan R. Hill.
In Technicolor.
Hello, everyone.
We're not dead!
Yay!
It was close.
Yep, it was looking pretty touch and go there for a while, but we're alive, we're back at it, and doing our thing.
Shall we regale them with the tale of what the heck has happened the last, how long has it been now?
It's been
like a month.
It's been numerous weeks.
It's been a while.
To say the least,
When
yes.
was the last time we posted? I'm gonna...
Yeah, go ahead and double check, but
So basically...
we were dying of sickness.
Well, no, because what happened first is you started working.
Yes, where I was just dying
It's been 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. I was dying of exhaustion from working.
And then we're like, that weekend, we're like, okay, we're going to record an episode. Mm-hmm. We'll be ready. Yep. We'll have content. And then we got the flu.
Yes. Both of us at the same time. We were just dead and non-functional that entire weekend.
It hit me a bit harder than it hit you.
To say the least, yeah.
I was just gone. I was just sleeping all day.
Yep.
And then we started work. I started work with you.
Yep.
That Monday.
So that was just a complete write-off at that point.
And then 2 days into that, I got COVID.
And to the shock of many people, I didn't get it.
So then I isolated for a week.
So we couldn't record then either.
And then we went back into work.
Yup.
So yeah.
It's been a crazy couple weeks, but we're back here.
It's been eventful.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, we have time. Let's just quickly do something.
Yeah,
so
let's hammer something out.
Yeah,
this is going to be one of our wonderful improvisational episodes, ladies and gentlemen.
Aren't they all improvisational?
To an extent, yeah. I mean, it's not like we're writing scripts for these things.
It's not like we're writing scripts for these things.
That's good. That's good.
We'll use that in another episode. Yeah,
100%.
They'll believe that 100%. What did you say earlier?
I said flabbergasted.
How do you spell that?
F L
What's the A key? Where's the N key?
It's the one that looks like the @ sign.
Flatbergasted?
Flatbergasted, yes.
Flatbergasted.
Indeed.
Ah.
Perfection.
I'm really, really glad you spelled that for me.
Yes. Speaking of flabbergasted, we saw Nightmare Alley.
We did.
Which was, I thought
I
it was
keep
fantastic.
forgetting that we watched it.
I didn't. I thought it was delightful.
I thought it was okay.
Just, yeah. I was the one in the room who likes art, and this Philistine over here did not appreciate it the way I did.
Is the fact that you like art or you like art?
It could be a little bit of liking art.
I mean, I watched lots of movies when I was laid up.
What'd you watch?
I watched Guns Akimbo.
Yes,
really
which I still have yet to watch, but I've been told it is rather delightful.
It's very, very violent. It's very over the top, but it's actually really funny.
Excellent.
Field of Dreams. I forgot how much I love that movie.
Yeah, it's not bad.
What do you mean it's not bad? You never seen it.
Oh, right, yeah. I've seen the ending, which is quite emotional.
Yeah, the ending, rips your heart out, but, in, a nice way.
But as I've discussed with you before, I always get that mixed up with Angels in the Outfield.
They're very different movies.
I just this is people are dead and baseball. Yeah, clearly.
No, people aren't, they're dead people.
Yeah.
But
it's true.
It's
you want to argue with me.
It's not the same. One is ghosts,
but
the others are
legitimately,
angels.
I thought that Danny Glover was in Field of Dreams.
No, James Earl Jones
is in Field of Dreams. I always get them mixed up. I don't know why.
Kevin Costner and Christopher Lloyd, James Earl Jones, and Danny Glover. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
As a small child.
He is.
Doing this.
Before his famous breakout role in Halloween H2O.
Oh yeah, he is in that movie.
Yep, and he gets murdered right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, he does.
Indeed.
The way to remember it, Angels in the Outfield, this. And Field of Dreams is if you build it, he will come.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes, that's how you remember.
Okay. Well, I'll try to remember that for the future, but it's probably going to happen again. We should just do a double feature.
I don't own that one, though. I mean, it was probably on Disney+.
Most likely, yeah, if I had to guess.
Revisited L.A. Confidential.
Which is just a fantastic film.
It's a solid film, but then Kevin Spacey's there.
Yeah, that always
And, like, he's good, but he's Kevin Spacey.
But you just feel gross. It's like every time you, like, we recently binged all the Scream movies.
And it's like...
every time it's like, oh man, that was a delightful movie. It's like produced...
Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, God.
And the same thing happened with Spy Kids. Like, we watched
the same thing.
We watched the first Spy Kids.
That was
a
fun little...
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
Great childhood memories. Nothing could ruin...
It's like the worst Scooby-Doo reveal every single time.
Oh, and who produced this film?
Old
Man Weinstein.
Let's look at the credits and see who the producer really is. The only movie that's been improved at all is Seven. Because it just makes the villain more ominous.
Oh, I'm like Harvey Weinstein produced Seven?
No, Harvey Weinstein was the villain in Seven.
I don't know these things.
He walks into the police station with a bathrobe on.
On but open.
On but open.
I heard you were looking for me.
Oh my God. Yep, I think we just made Seven more terrifying.
Well, I just looked it up and I just made sure. It was New Line Cinema that did it, so...
Oh, okay.
So it's not that bad.
Indeed.
Oh, good old Robert Shea.
Right. Wouldn't have Lord of the Rings or Nightmare on Elm Street without
We wouldn't
him.
have a lot. There's a lot that he, like, just took a gamble on. I think
100%.
The Mask was his as well, like...
If I remember correctly, yes.
Like...
Yeah,
Man,
Bob Shea is a goat, that's for sure.
Yes.
I always enjoy, because I've watched a lot of behind the scenes on Nightmare on Elm Street, but then he's actually in New Nightmare, and it's always like, man, he's actually, like, not terrible at playing himself.
Well, it's the same thing with Wes Craven, right?
Mm-hmm. Robert Englund's just delightful in that movie, too.
Playing himself and Freddy.
Oh my God. Dude, like, two different versions as well. Because he, like, pops out in the regular Freddy costume, and then he's, like, New Nightmare Freddy as well. It's a good movie.
It's a weird one.
It is weird. It's like a proto-Scream, almost.
Like, here's the thing. Like Nightmare 3 is weird, but, like, in the best way. And I found out recently, apparently, that is the highest grossing Nightmare movie. I
mean, I'm not shocked by it at all. It's just a solid freaking movie.
It's great. And it's not even, like, it's horrific, but, like, it's not. Like, it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
And that's...
Like, realistically, the only Nightmare on Elm Street movies you need to see are, like, 1, 3, and then New Nightmare. Because it's still, in my opinion, it works as a trilogy. A weird pseudo-trilogy with New Nightmare, but, like, it kind of concludes the, like, Heather Langenkamp, Nancy Thompson story in a lot of ways.
Honestly, my favorites are the first 3.
Which is fair. Like 2's not bad by any means. It gets a lot of crap.
2 is... hilarious in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that it's turned into, like, an iconic gay film accidentally.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole segment on, like, the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary where they actually talk about, like...
There's a whole documentary just about that movie.
It's about that entire series. Never Sleep Again. It's like 4 hours long, but...
Oh, no, I'm talking, there's a documentary called Scream Queen that's all about the making of Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I think it's on Shudder, actually, if I recall.
Really? I thought that was about Scream Queens in general. Or
no,
is there two different...
there's Scream Queens, the TV show, and then there's Scream Queen, which is the documentary about the making of Nightmare 2.
I gotta Google this, because I was...
And then there's Final Girls, which is different from the movie Final Girl, which is
yeah, you're right. There is that, but I swear there was another documentary called Scream Queens.
I know, like, it's a well documented, like, it's been.
No, I'm thinking Running in High Heels.
Okay, which I actually have not seen.
I think I have it somewhere.
Yeah. But no, the Final Girl archetype has been well documented character in slasher films in general.
it's a necessity. Like, it's when you come to slasher films and like horror films in general, whether it's a final girl or just that final character, like you need to have that survivor character.
Yeah. 100%.
Is there any movies that like everyone's just toast? Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Yes, everyone
Literally,
dies.
Everyone dies.
Because Charlton Heston said, I'm not doing it unless I can blow up the planet.
And they're like, okay. And he's like, good.
And the movie literally ends with...
and
everyone died at the end. And
yeah,
it's
like
why?
that's the voiceover is like, that was the end of the Planet of the Apes. And then Charlton Heston's like, yes, they'll never make another movie. And then they made 3 more sequels.
And then rebooted twice, second one getting 3 movies.
Well, again, like, I stand by, like, the Mark Wahlberg reboot isn't as terrible as people say. Comparatively speaking to, like...
It's got good practical effects.
Not even that. Story-wise, comparatively speaking, it is better than all the Planet of the Apes sequels. But not as...
I don't know, man. Like,
you're telling me it's...
Escape from Planet of the Apes isn't bad.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely not. It is. I love these movies.
That's the one that they go back in time. That one's not bad.
Yes, it's so bad.
It's
they go
not
back
that
in time.
bad.
They go back in time and become celebrities.
Yes. Why wouldn't
And then they have to escape because the government's gonna try and kill them.
It's twofold. They escaped from the Planet of the Apes, and now they have to escape.
It's not a well executed film.
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I'm not arguing that, but so is the.
It has the best ending with the with
the scratched. Or what is it? When
it's
they
like
do
the,
that, where they
yeah,
wobble
they
wobble the film back and forth to make the animal talk.
Yes, it's so good.
They did the same thing in Batman and Robin to make it look like Robin was drowning. Yeah, like he came up and then they just reversed the film, throw him back. It's my favorite film technique that's terrible, but no one really notices it right away.
Yeah, but I've seen it. I mean, then there's was it Moonraker? Where they just like a hard cut to make the pigeon double take in that one scene.
No, that was
it Moonraker or which one?
Oh, maybe it was.
I'm pretty sure it's Moonraker where there's just a double taking pigeon for no reason.
That's the same one as like the rocket gondola.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to say that's why the pigeon is double taking, because it's just like shoo, and then it's like what, and it's
just like 2 frames. It's like the pigeon's looking, and it's like. It's.
But I don't remember if it was like I don't know if that was a scrubbing effect or if that was an animatronic pigeon.
No, it is not no. There's no way that's an animatronic pigeon.
It could have been. What really needs to happen is we need to rewatch. Well, I mean, we're there. We're at Live and Let Die.
Yeah, which is one of the best Bond movies.
It's my favorite.
It's fantastic.
That song and just like everything. The opening sequence in general, like the funeral procession.
Oh, 100%.
One of the best cold opens to a
so good
movie, period. Like, honestly,
you got Yaphet Kotto in there.
That opening and Untouchables.
Yes.
Those are like.
I mean, Untouchables is just phenomenal.
But those are like my 2 favorite movie openings.
Yeah, which as we discussed before with I love Scarface with a burning passion. I own 6 copies of it.
No, you gave me one of them, so you only own 5.
Oh, sorry, I only own 5 copies of Scarface.
Thank you for making me not have to upgrade Scarface.
You're welcome. But I did concede that like Untouchables is a better movie than Scarface.
And at the end of the day, like you agree too, Godfather. Like I think we've had this discussion on here.
Yes.
But The Godfather is a better made movie.
Yes.
The
Godfather's a better made movie, but Scarface is just fantastic.
You enjoy Scarface more.
Yeah, I enjoy that story. It's I think it's a more dynamic Pacino performance.
I would disagree.
No, I'm not saying it's a better Pacino performance. I'm saying it's more dynamic. There's a lot of layers to Tony Montana.
There's a lot of layers to Michael Corleone.
Really?
Yes.
It's like, I'm a soldier, and I like my family. I'm going to Italy now.
Do you think his voice turned into that because of what he did on Scarface?
It just fucked his voice up.
All the yelling
just permanently destroyed his voice.
That's what it feels like, because again, in The Godfather, he's very even keeled. But that's what I love about his performance is
I gotta go to the bathroom.
His performance in Scarface is amazing, but again, you're right. There's a lot of levels there's a lot of levels that are very much on the surface. Like there's a lot of highs and lows, and arguably there's more highs than lows.
I would argue that in Scarface, you see Al Pacino go through the entirety of his arc in all three Godfather films. In one movie.
See, and I disagree with that because, in my opinion, Al Pacino goes through his arc in the first Godfather movie.
Yeah,
and then
as we discussed, Godfather 2, it's the exact same arc.
It's the exact same arc.
The exact same
I'm
arc.
gonna be clean now. Nope, I can't be clean. No,
I'm not gonna do it.
And then the third movie is the same thing. We're gonna go straight. I can't go straight, and now I'm dead. Like, that's...
And now there's cousin boning.
That was... I don't care what cut you have of The Godfather 3.
They're all awkward and terrible. And that's I had never seen the original cut of The Godfather 3.
And I had.
And watching Coda, it's like... I can't imagine what has been improved by this cut. For what I gather, the pacing is better.
Nope.
But, there's still the weird cousins in love thing that's just, not great. I can't, you know?
Yeah, it just wasn't...
You don't need part 3, you can just stop.
I stand by you don't need 2, and a lot of people disagree with that.
Rocky versus Drago is a much better 30 years later recut than Godfather 3.
But even then, for me, it didn't necessarily drastically improve the story.
Yeah.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's still American propaganda.
Yes.
But it was...
Wait, which one? Sorry, I thought we were still talking about Godfather 3. I'm like, how is Godfather 3 American propaganda?
It kind of is. I mean, think about it.
No,
but
Rocky, the director's cut of Rocky 4 to me, just makes it feels more consistent tone-wise with, maybe not necessarily the first one, but at least 3, where it's they're starting to border on the ridiculous, but it tones some of that stuff down, and it actually makes a lot of character motivations more clear.
I think so. So here's the thing. So if you're gonna watch the Rocky movies, you watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Balboa. If you want to watch the Rocky movies and include Creed, you watch Rocky 1, 2, 3, the
director's cut of 4,
and then you skip right to Creed.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch Balboa, and you don't need to watch...
I mean, I would say you watch Balboa just because
you like Balboa.
Balboa, I think, is great.
But in that world, you can skip 5. Mm-hmm. There's the 2 different... we have different timelines for, Halloween and all that kind of stuff.
It's true.
But for the Rocky ones, basically, it's either you watch 5 or you don't. That's... The two separate timelines, just one removes 5 and one doesn't.
I guess you kind of need 5 because it's Paulie lost all their money, and that's why he's broke ass in the 6th one.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also, I guess what I'm saying, you could skip over 5 and 6 and go right to Creed.
Yeah.
Because,
if you want to just do that story, yeah.
Well, there's nothing you're really missing from, all the context you technically need for Creed is Rockies 1 through 5. Or 4, I mean.
Yeah.
Because you need 1 to show the rivalry of him and Apollo. Yeah. Then you need 2 to show the continued rivalry. Yes. And even 2 is, iffy, but,
Well, again, 2 basically...
Undoes and redoes and undoes...
It simultaneously, does the same story again, but also, oh, look at Rocky's successful now. He's like, oh, I don't know, the money and stuff. And,
any time, any place, and then they're like, okay... How about in another year when we make the second movie?
No, that's the dumbest. That's one of the dumbest things about that second. The intro of the second one literally undoes the ending, that great ending of the first one. He's like, there ain't gonna be no rematch, and then literally, but it fits with Apollo's character though because he's kind of an asshole.
Well,
he's trying to save face. He's like, I will fight you again, any time and place. And Rocky's like, Apollo, that's not what you said in the ring, man. He's like,
well, to me, it undoes the message of the first movie, where you're still a winner even if you lose.
Yeah.
Because of the fight. It's not about the outcome of the fight. It's about the quality of the fight that you have.
It's
a good metaphor for life.
100%. Like even if you put in your best effort and you go for it, and even if you don't necessarily win, you still went on that journey and you improved yourself.
It is possible to do everything correctly and still lose.
Exactly.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Yes. Wayne Gretzky.
Patrick Stewart. Yeah, so you need those two films.
Yep.
And then three you really need to build up like that relationship there. And then 4
where he and then see, that's one of the things that's nice about the fourth one is Apollo doesn't just immediately get the snot beat out of him. Like, it actually is a bit of a fight. He's still getting his ass kicked, but he actually gets some hits in on Drago.
Like in the recut?
In the recut, yeah. Like, the fight is improved immensely, because in the original, he just beats the fuck out of him.
Did we...
And there's nothing he can do.
So, like, do we actually need to, like... I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember this.
Apollo skipped...
do you need to watch 3 with the recut? Because didn't the
recut,
right, sum up 3?
Yeah, it does.
Like, a lot?
Yes. Like, literally the first 7 minutes of 4 is, like, the ending of 3, and it's a weird choice.
But you do need 3, because you get to see Hulk Hogan fight
You get
Stallone.
Thunder Lips.
Yes.
That's the name of the game. Good old Hulk Hogan. What a fantastic actor.
Yes, like in, what's that movie?
Suburban Commando.
No, the one where Santa Claus.
Santa with muscles.
Ah. That's a dumb movie title.
Right?
That's something that I would come up with. That's like a...
what we got here? We got Santa.
And he's got muscles. Santa with muscles. That's honestly, like, when I'm writing, that's 90% of, like, how I come up with working titles.
That's like WWE films in general, though. It's like, all these guys, they're condemned. What do we call the movie? The Condemned.
This main character is a Marine. The Marine.
Got, Kane, he's got that one weird eye. See no evil. God damn it. It is.
I've never even seen that one.
I've never seen it. Apparently it's okay.
Right? Like, that's what I've heard.
Yep. I still love, what was it? Roddy Piper originally was supposed to star in No Holds Barred, I'm pretty sure, which is what Hulk Hogan starred in. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna go work with John Carpenter. I'm gonna go make this movie over here.
It's a good choice.
Yep, he made the right fucking choice. Fucking love it. But no, they, because, yeah, like, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is, like, Rocky has that regret because he didn't stop the fight, which caused Apollo to die. And then they follow that up with the 4th one, and they follow that up in Creed, and then, of course, in Creed 2, which is not as good a movie, but still fun.
I'm confused, and I need to do some research here, because apparently WWE... I searched up WWE movies.
Yep, they produced Oculus.
No, apparently, like, it's saying that they produced, It was saying that they produced Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
And I could see that because of...
Or is it just, like, a weird thing where because, like, Bautista's in it, it's like, it's a wrestling movie?
That's what I'm thinking it is, because I'm not seeing...
Because I do not think the Marvel Studios would partner with Vince McMahon.
I mean, money is money.
I guess so. But no, actually, yeah, you want to talk about, like, wrestlers turned actors. Like, Dave Bautista, man, he's been rocking it lately. That was not meant to be a pun, it just kind of happened.
That kind of is, though, because, like, The Rock really paved that way.
Oh no, Hulk Hogan did. We discussed this.
But no, but like I will say this: The Rock was like the first like good actor to come out of WWE.
Yes, because John Cena's been doing it for a while, but like his career was kind of a slow burn when it came to movies and being really good stuff.
And like it's really interesting with him because like he's literally just all about. I'll say this about. Those, like, The Rock and John Cena for sure, I don't know how Dave Bautista views it because he's taken way more serious roles and he's a lot more selective.
Yeah, Bautista like very much just like trying to separate himself from his wrestling persona, as it were.
But honestly, listening to John Cena talk about wrestling and acting and all this kind of stuff, and that's a sentence I never thought that I would really
Well, at the end
say,
of the day,
but like listening to him talk about it is like some of the most inspirational stuff you could hear about entertainment, because at the end of the day, that's what his whole
he's an entertainer.
His whole persona is about entertaining and putting on the best show possible, whether it's in a film, whether it's on stage, whether it's in the ring. That's his whole persona, and it's so pure.
Yeah,
like I never thought that I would think of John Cena as like an inspirational figure, because like to me he was a meme. That's the first.
Yeah, that's
the first thing I ever knew him from was from a meme of "Oh, you can't see me."
Yeah,
like that's what I
associated John Cena with.
But now it's like genuinely,
he's just a great guy.
He's a wholesome human being. He probably is actually one of my favorite new, like, I say new actor because like I know he's not
like he's
new.
only like
he's been acting for like a very long time.
The Marine, but like he's been obviously blowing up recently because Peacemaker and shit, and Peacemaker is phenomenal as well.
Well, and his comedic timing is just absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And just, again, he's just a wholesome guy. He's just such a nice guy. I saw a video of him and Shaq trying to get in this smart car, and it's the funniest thing in the world.
I need to watch that. That sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It is. They're trying to get in, and they need a bigger car, and they get inside, but they can't move.
Like Shaq just pops out, makes a sunroof, like Donkey Kong.
No, it's like Dino. He's like Dino from the Flintstones. His head pops out. John Cena puts 2 babies on his head. That's amazing. That's perfect.
Yes, there we go.
Jingle All the Way 2 was apparently a WWE movie.
Really?
Yep.
Wasn't that Larry the Cable Guy?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They've done a lot of Christmas movies, though.
Who'd have thunk it? Did they also produce Kindergarten Cop 2?
When did that one come out? That was recent, wasn't it?
Yep. With Dolph Lundgren. But no, they did...
Nope, but they did do... I heard good things about it. I haven't seen it yet, but Fighting with My Family.
Yes, I have heard good things about that one. That one is, what's her name?
Paige.
Yep, Florence Pugh.
Yeah, but it's about Paige, the wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then...
No, that one's supposed to be good. And yeah, like, weirdly enough, they produced Oculus.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. It's one of the weirdest things. Like, whenever I look at that movie, it's just like WWE films, like, what?
Well, it's Mike Flanagan.
Was the Undertaker the mirror the whole time?
Well, I'm just like sitting here going, like, is it maybe like Mike Flanagan had a tie to the WWE?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
What?
Do you know where like Mike Flanagan's from?
Where is he from?
He's from Salem, Massachusetts.
Really? That just checks out entirely.
That's hilarious.
That is amazing.
I love that, and just it makes sense why he is
the horror maestro that he is. Still gotta watch Midnight Mass.
Oh, he did Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Oh, yeah.
He also did that movie Hush, which I thought was fantastic.
I gotta watch Gerald's Game still.
Gerald's Game, also fantastic. Like, the dude has literally been, like, hitting home runs, like, consistently since Oculus. And again, with the TV shows, like, Haunting of Hill House was fantastic.
Is Midnight Club his newest one?
Midnight Club. No, he's working on,
Well, no, there's the Fall of the House of Usher, but there's also the Midnight Club, is his next one that's getting released this year.
Oh, okay. Maybe he filmed that in between House of Usher. Like, is it a movie or a TV show?
It's a TV show.
Okay. Literally, like, I'll watch anything that man does at this point. Like, he's just fantastic. And the thing I appreciate about his, like, style of horror is, like Like, you know how, like, all of the Blumhouse horrors that have come out are pretty much all of them stylistically are aping off of that James Wan style?
Yeah, and they feel very much the same.
Yeah. Like, Mike Flanagan kind of comes from the same school of thought of horror that James Wan does, but his feels a little more... Like, it feels like stylistically a bit more grounded, which is funny because a lot of his stuff is definitely more out there. Like, especially if you think of, like, the shit that's in Dr. Sleep. But, like, it feels like a lot of his stuff exists in a real world. Whereas, like, James Wan has more of a heightened reality with the way that he shoots a lot of his stuff. Does that make any sense at all?
No, I think I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I'm trying to formulate my thought here.
Okay.
Because with James Wan... Oh, goodness. How can I explain this? How can I... So, like, both of them are very based in a real world. Like, it's very grounded.
Yeah. Like, they both have the same 1970s horror sensibility, but they have their own way of going about it.
No, because I wouldn't even say they have 1970s sensibility, because, again, like when both of those movies, like, when both of those, like, styles kind of popped up, it was stuff in horror that we'd never seen before.
Yeah.
A lot of the background things, like the things hiding in the background that you don't really notice. The use of tension against the audience, like to build up so much false tension and never release it until like 20 minutes later.
Yeah. And sometimes something just won't happen.
Well, and so that's the thing is, like, so James Wan always does that build up and then eventually does release that tension.
Yeah.
But, like, not, like, within the same scene necessarily, but he'll use that anxiety against you.
Yeah.
Mike Flanagan doesn't do that. He builds up that anxiety, but a lot of times there's no payoff to that.
It's literally just to, like, it's to get the hair in the back of your head to stand up.
Well, it was when we were watching The House on Haunted Hill.
Yes.
Or The Haunting of Hill House?
Bly Manor.
No, it wasn't Bly Manor. It was the first series he did.
Yeah, The Haunting of Hill House.
I just can never pronounce it if it's... Yeah, The Haunting of Hill House. Okay. We were watching it, and we actually started counting throughout the episodes how many ghosts popped up in the background that never came back. Like, they never...
Yeah, they're literally just there because, like, even if you don't necessarily notice it yourself, your brain does.
Well, and even then, again, you might not notice it the first time, but then you notice it the second time, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And, like, to me, that's excellent execution. Like,
100%.
Like, for me, a movie, and I know a lot of people don't rewatch movies. Like, I notoriously do. I know you do.
Yeah. Oh boy, do I.
A good movie to me and a good series is a movie that you can watch several times and get new things from each time.
100%.
And I'm not saying, like, it's a movie where you watch it and you don't understand it the first time, so you have to watch it again to understand it more.
It's literally just every time you watch the movie,
you discover more and more layers to it.
Like, to me, those are like in discussion with comedies, like, whenever a good comedy to me is like one where every time I watch it, I find a new joke.
Yes.
Whether it's in the dialogue, a sight gag, what have you. Like,
that's why, like, Mel Brooks films I love.
Yeah, Mel Brooks films, Edgar Wright notoriously honestly, is good for that.
The Austin Powers films, like, you wouldn't think the Austin Powers films, but after watching James Bond, like, all the James Bond movies... There's so many,
like, that was the weirdest thing, because, like, I had seen, obviously, like, pop culture-wise, people have, like, a passing knowledge of James Bond, even if you've never really watched a James Bond movie. Yeah. So, like, watching Austin Powers, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, that's the thing.
Well,
but then after we watched all those old Bond movies... There are so many little, like, gags that are specifically riffing on something from those older movies.
So before we watched the Bond movies, how many times do you think feasibly you had seen Austin Powers?
Oh, God. probably a bunch. Like Goldmember in particular, I'd watched.
Yeah, like I'd seen it like 10 plus times probably.
Yeah.
Like, and then like because we watched that. How old were we? We would have been. Was that after Damned Rights or before? I feel like our marathon was just or just after.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been after because we started the marathon when we were in Red Deer.
Oh, then. Wait, did it take us that long to watch?
There's a lot of friggin' Bond movies, man.
True, like we're still on our second marathon. We're not even like halfway through.
We just got to Roger Moore. And we did watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service this time.
I can't remember it.
I remember
This should never happen to the other guy.
I remember Telly Savalas as Blofeld, and that's about it.
That was a weird choice.
It was a weird choice.
It's good though. He was good. But
yeah.
It was just a weird. You don't think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially like coming off of like Donald Pleasance and all that. But like I kind of like the gag that like Blofeld's just a different guy each time.
I think Donald Pleasance comes back though.
No, he's just in You Only Live Twice.
Oh.
Maybe like voice wise he comes back. I don't know, but
because I thought he was the one who got. I thought he was the one who got dropped.
No, because you never see that Blofeld.
Mr. Bond.
Mr. Bond.
But yeah. So we like. How long did it take us to watch that? So it took us a while to watch that. But I know after visiting those, like
we started watching like the Austin Powers movies from the beginning, and there's so many just little things that
costume design gags, even set pieces, everything like that. Like it's just so intricate, and the amount of detail that goes into those films that are just really dismissed as dumb comedies.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of thought put in them, and again the funniest thing. And again, the thing I like about the Austin Powers movies is, like, even if you haven't watched those James Bond movies, as, again,
they're still
discussed,
funny.
they're still just well-designed comedies, and they make you laugh. And, like, again, sometimes it's a really stupid joke, but at the end of the day, like, if you laughed, you laughed. Like,
yeah.
If you laughed at something because it was that stupid, and that was the joke, then you laughed. They got you.
I think I've talked about it before, but, like, me recommending comedies to people is just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because
unless it's like something that like is fairly universally enjoyed, like again, like recommending Ghostbusters to people, that's pretty.
Yeah, that's not.
It's a
like,
pretty
it's a comedy,
safe...
but it's a comedy, but not like it's a comedy, but it's also just a good sci-fi film, just a good horror film. Like it's
like I do stand by if you took the exact plot of Ghostbusters and like you removed the comedy aspect, you would still have a pretty damn solid supernatural action flick.
Well, it's the same thing if you took the ghosts out of Ghostbusters and made it like about firefighters.
Yep.
Same thing, like it's a group of volunteer firefighters.
Yeah. It's just you get those two things meshed together, and that's why it's so effective.
100%. And like trying to remember what my train of thought was. Oh no, my train of thought crashed.
Oh my god.
Oh goodness.
Austin Powers. Jokes.
Oh, basically, yeah. When you think Trolls is the funniest thing in the world, you should really evaluate what your sense of humor is. And my sense of humor is just I laugh at a lot of basically anything.
It's true.
Although, oddly enough, we watched Uncle Buck last night.
Yeah.
And there were a couple moments that were, like, pretty funny.
There are some absolutely, like, awesome comedy moments in Uncle Buck.
Can you remember any of them?
Honestly, I just remember wacky John Candy stuff.
But, like, can you remember any specific jokes?
No, not as much as, like, like because when you think of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, there's so many just, like, great jokes in that movie.
I'm the Penguin article. That's not even a joke, but like it still gets me.
Yep.
But
those aren't pillows. Oh!
So with Uncle Buck though, I've heard nothing but like people ranting and raving about how great this movie is.
Yeah.
And it was okay. It was all right.
Yeah, like it was like I understand like why it has the status that it does, but like there are so many, even just John Hughes movies that are better.
I would say most of them are better. Like,
like Ferris Bueller, better movie. Breakfast Club, of course. Like, I know it's hard to compare them.
Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot more that I still need to see of his.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about a lot more, but there's more that I still need to watch. But like,
he just wrote Home Alone, right? Or did John Hughes have anything to do with Home Alone?
He did.
I could have sworn. Yeah.
Chris Columbus is the one who directed it.
Yes, that I knew.
Him and Christmas is just synonymous. It's absolutely
at this point.
Like even if you look at like his Harry Potter movies, like the Christmas scenes in those movies are like nothing else in the Harry Potter franchise.
100%.
John Hughes.
Because you got Home Alone, you got Gremlins.
I like that my computer has just turned into like the research machine.
Oh wait, no, Joe Dante. Why did I think Chris Columbus? No, Chris Columbus
wrote it.
Wrote it, yeah. Still Christmas though.
Oh, Mr. Mom, that one was really good.
Mr. Mom.
But he just wrote that one. He didn't direct it.
Yeah, Mr. Mom was good.
Are we talking specifically directing, or are we talking writing?
For the sake of argument, since we're talking about like Uncle Buck, which he directed, let's stick with the directors.
Well, because he also wrote National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yes, which is delightful.
Including Christmas Vacation, yeah.
Yep, which is just, again, just an awesome movie.
Directed with 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science. Oh, he didn't direct Pretty in Pink.
What?
Yeah, he just wrote it.
Oh my god.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck, Curly Sue I've never heard of. So he is definitely more of a writer than he is, than he was a director. Because even as a writer, like, he's credited for writing on National Lampoon's Class Reunion, Mr. Mom, Vacation, European Vacation, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Vegas Vacation, I'm assuming.
Yep. No, I don't see... Nope, no Vegas Vacation.
Weird. Honestly, like, Vegas Vacation and European Vacation are the two I've seen the least.
The Great Outdoors, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone.
Great Outdoors is delightful.
Career Opportunities, Beethoven, Home Alone 2.
So definitely more of a
Dennis the
writer.
Menace, Miracle on 34th Street, 101 Dalmatians, like the live action one, Flubber. Like,
so 100%, like, definitely known more for his directorial stuff, but like he's written a lot more.
Well, then he got 2 story credits for Made in Manhattan and Drobet Taylor, but like credited as a pseudonym.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, like that's like, and so like for me, like just going off of that list of like the ones he's directed, I think you still need to see Weird Science.
Yes, I do. I've heard great that Bill Paxton's in that one, right?
Yes. But yeah, so far Uncle Buck is my least favorite John Hughes film.
Yeah. Which again, like, it's not a bad movie by any means. Like, it's still a funny movie, and it's still like got a good core story. But like, there's a lot of like stuff that's kind of, there's a lot of fluff in my opinion, as far as like the pacing is concerned.
Like, I get what they were trying to do with it. I understand what they were going for.
Yeah.
And trying to build a relationship between him and the kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, yeah, a lot of it just kind of felt like there was a lot of dead air between the jokes that were really, really funny.
Yeah. No, 100%. And then in that same evening, I finally got to show you Drive.
Yes, and Drive is... So, like, that's the thing. Drive is a movie that I don't feel anything emotionally, like, massive about it.
Right.
But it was good. Like, it was good. Like, it was flawless. Like, there was no... I can't complain about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that everyone could have gotten along in that movie.
That's the funniest thing watching it. You're just, like... You were just sad that they didn't get along. And
they could have all been friends and done stock car racing, and it would have been a completely different movie.
But Ethan...
Think Herbie the Love Bug, but without Lindsay Lohan.
But Ethan...
Or Herbie Fully Loaded.
But then Ryan Gosling couldn't be a real human being and a real hero.
No!
Oh my god, Ethan is leaving the building. I'll just sit here and talk about... Oh my... he's closing the door and everything. Oh my god. I'll just sit here and talk about Drive for the rest of the time. It's a fantastic film. Probably one of Ryan Gosling's best performances, which then he did something very similar in... Yeah, he, completely left the building. But,
It's cold outside.
Oh, he's back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening to the audio version of this, you didn't get the joke as much, but,
I think we might have. There's doors closing.
Yeah, it probably picked up on the microphone.
Foot stomping, maybe.
It'll be fine.
Look, I tried to make as much noise as possible just for the bit.
It's true. But no, I like Drive so much that I'm spending $80 for a 4K collector's edition from the UK. So...
Must be nice.
Well, I'm sorry.
So anyway, so speaking of Drive, though, and this kind of maybe takes us in a direction that I'm kind of curious about, and I don't know if we ever talked about it. Have we talked about synthwave in movies?
I don't think we have. Obviously, it came up in the John Carpenter episode.
So I would love to pick your brain and just understand your love of synthwave.
The history of synth in movies.
Specifically, and what draws you to it, because I really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy it, but not nearly to the same extent that you do.
Right.
And the amount of synth...
I'm a shameless 80s fanboy.
but the thing is, a lot of the synth that you love isn't even... when I hear it, I don't think the 80s.
Right.
There's some that I do, but a lot of it I don't. It still sounds very modern.
Yeah.
But there's something about that genre that just really hit you in such an impactful way that it really kind of started formulating just not who you are as a person, but really started to I guess inform some of your personality, and just the amount of passion that I see in you with synthwave.
Yeah.
Is just...
I mean, shit, man.
Anytime a new artist drops something, you're like, oh man, Kavinsky just dropped a new album. And I'm like, again? And you're like, no, this is the first one in this long. I'm like, I swear he just released it. No, that's this artist over here.
Yeah.
No, that's Carpenter Brute. No, that's
What, you can't tell this, so he danced the dead and Carpenter Brute? What the hell's wrong?
No, I can't! And it bugs me because again, this is coming from someone who I can tell the difference.
Next you'll tell me The Midnight sounds like Gunship.
No, The Midnight is amazing.
The Midnight is awesome.
I will fight you.
Yeah.
But this is coming from someone who grew up listening to metal bands that exclusively all sounded the exact same. And I could tell them apart. I could distinctly be like, oh, that's this group here. This guitar tone belongs to this group here. Oh, that vocal, that's this guy over here. Mm-hmm. And then there's synthwave, and my brain just doesn't connect, except for with a few bands being Gunship and The Midnight. Those are the two big ones that really stick out to me and that I absolutely adore.
Right. Well, because there's, again, this is much like you discussed metal music. There are different classifications of synthwave, and different bands tend to lean in different directions.
Well, I find the stuff with vocals appeals to me more than the instrumental.
Yeah, which a lot of that falls under more again, there's synthwave, which is the genre in general, or Outrun, if you will, Retrowave's another name for it. It's got a bunch of different names.
Well, there's Vaporwave, Vapor Soul.
Well, that's fall into the those fall into the different subcategories. Vaporwave specifically has a much more chill, psychedelic feel to the sound. I can't think of any groups off the top of my head that really do it. There's one called Home that falls into more of the vaporwave type stuff.
Home was good. You showed me a couple songs by them.
Yep, Home would fall more into the vaporwave type style. Synth pop is probably the one that most people would be familiar with, because it's definitely influencing a lot more in the pop scene now than it has in recent years. You're seeing artists like Miley Cyrus that are diving into more of that synth type sound now.
Well, especially on her last album.
I mean, there's
Classic Hearts was honestly one of the weirdest albums I've ever heard, because it was such such a throwback 80s rock album.
Well, shit, it had a Billy Idol on it,
Yes, and Joan Jett.
Yep.
But then it also had Dua Lipa on a song, and
it
all worked in a really cohesive way, and I've never listened to a Miley Cyrus album before.
I was
the most I've heard is you singing.
It was not on my radar whatsoever.
The most I know is you singing "Party in the USA" because that's just your jam.
Well, of course.
But
I mean, the Britney song was on.
It was.
The Britney song was on.
Are you gonna put your hands up?
They're playing my song.
The butterflies fly away.
But no, it wasn't on my radar at all. And then you're like, "Hey, dude, you should listen to the new Miley Cyrus album."
Which is what because Teo was like, "You should listen to this," and I was like, "Okay, yeah."
Thinking it was a lark. You're just like, "Oh, okay." And then I started listening. I'm like, "Holy shit, this is really good."
Just even the first song, the first song was just just that bass It's just okay, what is this? And then it progresses and it's such a range because
Night Crawling is just that is solid synthwave type stuff. It's just really good shit.
It's such a weird range of tone though, because there are some songs that are a little more country, but not really. But then there's other songs that are straight up synthy. Then there's other songs that are straight up rock.
What's really interesting, because again, talking a bit more about the 80s is really 70s and 80s. You got stuff like Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk, which is what a lot of people attribute that initial spark to. And then
Vangelis as well, I think.
Yep, Vangelis. Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's Vangelis.
Vangelis. It's just you pronounce it whatever way. Probably not. I probably insulted somebody. Anyway.
Yes, you did. Me specifically.
But the Blade Runner soundtrack, of course, is what a lot of people cite as another seminal kind of synth soundtrack for them. Obviously we talked about John Carpenter and all that, but again, there's a lot of bands from that era that obviously mix that the synthetic
keyboard
sound and the rock, the keyboards.
Specifically, if you look at a lot of 80s rock bands, they had a keyboardist. Look at a Journey with Separate Ways, that opening that opening riff is very synthy. Actually, even if you look at Rush, especially in the 80s, really delved into
Heart, I would also say, can fall into that category as well. A lot of their sound has that guitars mixed with synth, which is why it's interesting, because with a lot of 80s rock and roll, you can and I've seen this go both ways, where I have seen fantastic covers from power metal bands of 80s ballads and shit, and they sound fantastic. And then I've also heard a lot of great 80s covers from synth bands, and they also sound fantastic. They lend themselves to both genres very well.
Yeah.
Because they both very much derive from that same era and kind of split off.
Well, and the interesting thing to me though, and this ties back into the movie thing.
Yeah, because ultimately we're talking about music, but it all ties together.
You didn't need to explain that it all ties together. They know.
I know.
They know. They actually don't, because we're completely improvising this.
It's true.
We're completely improvising this. It's a callback. I improvised the callback.
Write that down.
Writing it down. Anyway, as I was saying.
Oh my god.
As I was saying.
Yes.
What I find fascinating with current synth music is the amount of influence that not just it's not really music that I find is what inspires them. I don't really see them being inspired by musicians or specific bands as much as they are by movies.
Yes, absolutely.
The amount of influence that, and it's not even movie scores necessarily either. Yes, there's the John Carpenter influence.
We watched that one documentary, and literally every single one of the artists that was interviewed is they bring up John Carpenter.
Because again, and what did he do? And I love. Okay, I'm sorry. That was 50 billion thoughts just poured into my head.
Yeah.
And I can't remember any of them. But the thing that I love about that is John Carpenter's whole reason for doing synth scores.
Because it was cheap.
It was because it was cheap. And he influenced a whole genre.
inadvertently.
He's like, well, I'm saving money by doing it myself, and I got synths. And...
Well, then, like, there's other composers as well, like, from that era that I would say were influential as well. Like, there's, Henry... Oh, crap. I'm so bad with names, but, like, the guy who did the Running Man soundtrack.
Harry, isn't it? Harry something? No.
Harry. I literally have the vinyl upstairs. But, like, his scores as well, Vince DiCola, who did, like, Rocky IV, Transformers, and all that, like, that's another composer that I would say is influential in that genre, too.
Arguably, even, like, if you look at Friday the 13th, that's a very...
Oh, shit, like, Harry Manfredini?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would argue that. Well, especially with, like, a lot of, like, the, like, Dance with the Dead and things like that, like, lean more into, like, the horror type of
Harold Faltermeyer.
Harold Faltermeyer. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Like... I enjoy his shit, but, like, I could never remember how to pronounce his name, so I feel bad.
So, like, but that's the thing that I love is, again, a lot of those, if you look at a lot of those composers, they were on films that had arguably smaller budgets.
Yeah.
And they did that out of necessity. And also, that is the direction that, like, movie scores were going.
Yeah.
And then Star Wars came in and messed that whole thing up. And they were like, hey, look at scores with...
Yep. Bring back the orchestras.
Yeah. Full orchestras. That's what's going to sell. And
you have a stringed section, and you have a stringed section.
But, like, just... I don't know. Like, I just love the fact that, again, a necessity of budget has influenced so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that brought it back into modern movies.
Yeah.
Because synth scores have definitely come back with a vengeance.
Oh,
Even if you look at
friggin' exploded. Like, again, like, and part of that 100%, like, again, going back to Drive, that's kind of like one of the first movies people cite as, like, their first exposure to synthwave as a genre.
For songs and stuff, but I think it goes further, and it's been infiltrating scores now.
Yep, 100%. Well, shit, Thor Ragnarok had a lot of, like, synthwave type music.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Yup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I think Adam Wingard did some of that stuff.
Well, and then when they were going into the Hollow Earth, just, like, I think in the theater, me and you were like, of course he managed to fit in, like, an entire, like...
managed to get a synthwave track in there somewhere.
And, like, we wanted more, obviously, but, like...
Yep. Obviously, like, The Guest, which is just one of my favorite movies, like, almost completely synth score. Although it's weird, because, like, when they talk about it, they consider it more, like, goth industrial type of stuff. But again, like...
genres are arbitrary. I learned that a long time ago.
Like, because, again, like, talking about, like, more... There's, like, dark synth as well as, like, pops, like, synth pop, things like that. So, like, at the end of the day, it's... What we were talking about is, like, the synthwave, retrowave type sound.
Well, like, and so I guess the question is, like, what exactly appeals to you about it? Like, where does that, like, why does it affect you so much? Like, why does it resonate with you? Considering, like, the other genre of music that you really like completely opposes what synthwave is. Because, like, it's either, like, heavy aggressive metal or synthwave that's like, and there's some aggressive synthwave and there's a little bit of crossover.
Like, again, we've talked about, like, Carpenter Brood and Dance with the Dead, they have a lot of, like, almost metal influence within them.
But it's like, but that was not the first, like, those bands weren't the first ones I heard you listen to.
No.
I heard you listen to the more relaxed ones. Saxophone. Actually, the first time I remember you really actively talking about synth was talking about saxophone players in synthwave.
Well, that was with Gunship's second album. They got Tim Capella.
Yeah, the guy from Lost Boys.
Yeah, the sexy sax man from Lost Boys.
Was that actually him in the movie?
Yeah, that's him.
I just thought that was some actor that they, like...
Nope, same guy. And he's gonna be on their new album even more, apparently. Like, they brought him in.
Have you heard of Saxel Rose?
Saxel Rose? What?
So, like, State Champs released an acoustic album a couple years back, and on their first track, they have a saxophone solo in it, and it's featuring Saxel Rose. And I've never looked into who Saxel Rose is, But that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
That's amazing.
I love it. It also takes me back to our debate about the most Christmassy instrument.
Yes.
And how I was grossly wrong, and I'm very upset that I was. On a technicality.
Of course.
Because I was like, hey, it's chimes or jingle bells or something like that for it, because that makes sense. And then he's like, saxophone. And I'm like, saxophone? You're crazy. Why would saxophone be Christmassy? Name anything that has a saxophone in it. And he couldn't. He was just like, but it is. Like, what was your reasoning for it? Or
A lethal weapon.
Oh, yeah, it's lethal weapon. And then one of my friends piped up and said, hey, what about Kenny G? Now, Kenny G is a famous soprano saxophone player that my mom loves.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with Kenny G. He has several Christmas albums that I grew up listening to. And I was never more ashamed, and that's a lie, but I was never more ashamed than that moment when I forgot about Kenny G.
Yes.
And I knew my mom would be disappointed in me.
Yeah, it's literally like I had almost zero evidence to support my argument, and then turned out I was correct anyway.
And I recanted my statement. I said, yep, I guess I'm wrong. I've lost this one. And yeah, and so saxophone is one of the most Christmassy instruments.
100%. But no, like getting back to your initial question of why it kind of works for me.
Yes,
so
I'd like
much.
an answer to that.
Yeah, like, and honestly, like you say, like they're separate. Like again, I just talked about like power metal and all that stuff. Like to me, as something I've discussed with you before, like when I'm the kind of music I like to listen to is stuff that to me, when I listen to music, I basically create a music video in my head. And when I can't see the visual of the music in my head, that's when I have a trouble connecting to it. Like that's where like some of the bands you've shown me, like some of them I really connect with because like I immediately like I can see the visual of what is happening.
Yeah.
And then with some bands where I can't click with it because I don't have that connection, that's where there's a disconnect.
Well, and Synthwave is a very visual.
It is a cinematic music genre,
yeah,
because of where it originally derived from.
Well, and that would explain why you like power metal so much, because power metal is literally telling stories.
Yeah.
To metal music. Like
exactly. Like you like.
Whereas most other metal is like expressing about emotion or like talking about what's going on inside you.
Yeah, and sometimes I can definitely get like Slipknot. I was able to get into because like I felt the emotion of the music, and by proxy, emotion creates visuals in my head.
Yes.
Like that's why like I mean I think like with stuff like Disturbed as well, like. That's another one that, like, I can kind of see the movies in my head, but I got Disturbed when I was a very angsty teenager. So, like, I inherited them by proxy.
I'd like to switch the emphasis on, like, teenager, not angsty. when you were an angsty teenager,
yeah.
Now you're an angsty adult.
That's true. So much angst.
Look at him. He just looks so sad all the time.
Anyway.
It's true.
I'm a happy person mostly.
One time we need to have a podcast about emo stuff and just hair over our eyes. I'll get you a nice little toupee.
I'll wear my Ice Nine Kills t-shirt. It'll be great.
They're a little scene for my taste.
But when the Silver Scream came out,
no one's gonna get that reference.
Someone will get that reference.
Does Mark watch?
You should be.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
He must really hate that movie. Like,
I actually don't know if Mark has seen The Room.
No, I don't think he needs to see The Room to hate that movie. I just feel like he gets that a lot.
Oh, specifically for me.
Yeah.
Every time it's like, oh, hi, Mark.
Does he look like he's gonna hit you?
No, he's just like, oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so, like, I feel like me, who has never seen The Room, I feel like he might be another person who dislikes The Room.
Just by proxy.
Yes.
It's possible. But yeah, that's where I think like it really derives from, is like it is one of the best ways I've heard synthwave described as a genre. It is the soundtracks. Synthwave albums are the soundtracks for movies that never got made, and in a lot of ways that holds up as a description. Like you can almost, when you're listening to the music, like especially like Invasion AD, which I showed you, like that is like I literally with the theremin they mix in there, I get the image of like alien invasion films. Like it feels like if they ever made a Destroy All Humans movie, that's what the soundtrack would sound like.
What was the other one you showed me?
There was Invasion.
Starts with an H.
Invasion AD. Well, I mean, I talked about Home already. What's another one? There's Mecha Marika, which I've shown you.
I thought, or maybe the album started with an H, and that's what I'm getting confused by.
It's possible. I mean, actually thinking of soundtracks for movies that never got made, literally Adam Wingard just released the soundtrack to The Guest 2, and it's awesome. Like,
I stand by that. I think it's just a clever marketing ploy.
If I actually get The Guest 2, I will be tickled pink. It would be delightful. But at the end of the day, I'll take more great synth music that's meant to be that story.
So with synth music, with the fact that you can see the music video, have you ever been disappointed when you've seen the actual music video to a song and you're like, no, that's not what I saw at all. What the heck?
Sometimes, yeah. Like, and also, like, that's actually talking about, I brought up Ice Nine Kills earlier. It's kind of the same thing where, like, the reason I really enjoy their last couple albums is I literally just, like, I create my own, like, music video in my head from those movies, and it's just, like, this awesome montage of, like, the, like, best moments of those franchises, which is
That's why in their song, when they reference Garbage Day, I think that they missed the mark.
Garbage Day?
They should have pronounced it like that as opposed to just screaming it.
It's Garbage Day.
There are children watching.
It will censor it.
No, you won't.
No, I won't. That takes...
You should. That would be hilarious.
It's...
If you want to start throwing in bleeps, I'm all for it. Because I don't know what it is. It makes zero sense. I think bleeps are funnier than hearing the swears. And I have zero reason why.
That's why I really enjoy the Craig Ferguson show, because instead of, like, bleeping things, it's, like, replacing words with, like, ooh-la-la,
Tootsie frutti.
crikey dingo.
What's like I'm gonna go?
A tootsie frutti.
Or the SpongeBob episode with swearing, where it's just like
dolphin noises.
Dolphins, foghorns.
I can start doing that. I would gladly start doing
If you want to put the time into it, I'm so fine with it. And then you can start bleeping out words that I say at random to make it sound like I'm swearing.
Yep.
Really alarm my family.
Oh, shit. Yeah, no.
Not that any of them are watching. They're never going to see this, but I'm just going to glare at them anyway.
Yeah, what the hell, man?
Sorry, my mom isn't as cool as yours.
That's
I don't mean it, Mom. You're never going to watch it, but hey, I better say that to clarify.
But yeah, no.
I love my mother and my father very much.
Write that down.
On my hand or on the computer?
Both. At the same time.
Oh, we can't play that music. We can't.
Copyright strike.
Oh, okay. I turned it off within the first 2 seconds. That was pretty good reaction time.
Oh, thank God. If we I think it's like 5 seconds. That's when you're like gonk.
Oh, and it's not from a small movie either.
Yeah, the chunk.
Yeah, that was The Hobbit. That was The Hobbit soundtrack started playing.
Yep, they'd hammer us for sure.
Warner Brothers would have just smacked us.
Yep, with the chair.
A chair with a chair that says copyright strike on it.
Yep. Bam. Perfect. But yeah, no, that's your kind of explanation there on that one. Like,
again, it's a genre I would love to get more into, but for some reason there's just like I'm very selective, which is bizarre for me with how much music I listen to.
Yeah.
Like why am I selective about the synthwave I listen to?
I don't know, man. Like it's like. I mean, obviously, like, it's like anything. Like, if it clicks with you, it clicks with you. And if it doesn't, like...
It's true.
Yeah. At the end of the day, not everyone has to like everything. But there is stuff that you do like. Like, as we discussed, The Midnight is just fantastic. Gunship's great.
Gunship, I look forward to their next album. The Midnight, same thing. Like,
Yep,
it's...
I'm also very much looking forward to Gunship's next album, if I ever get it anytime soon.
Maybe they're watching, and it's like Futurama.
Yes, I would sure love if Gunship released a new single the day after this gets uploaded. That would be fantastic.
Probably not.
Yep. On this day, it gets released.
Normally on Fridays.
On this Friday, I don't know why I covered my mouth.
Got a question of the day today?
Do I? No, seriously, do I?
I don't know. I've been asking you questions all day. Why is that up to me?
I don't know. Give me a minute here. Literally a minute. I'm getting timed on this. Definitely don't play the Jeopardy music for that one. It's Jeopardy, right? I'm not making that up. I'm gonna be in Jeopardy in a minute.
I'll walk out again.
Well, man, actually, since it's semi-related to the topic we just talked about, what's your favorite Ryan Gosling performance?
Oh, yeah, for context, Ryan Gosling's in Drive.
Oh, they know that.
No, they don't.
How could they not know that?
How many people know what Drive is?
I actually think when you left the room, I said Ryan Gosling was in Drive.
I wasn't in the room.
Well, maybe if you stuck around, you would know these things. Instead of making funny sight gags.
Favorite Ryan Gosling performance?
Yeah. Like, because I have an answer.
My knee-jerk reaction is to say, Nice Guys.
That is exactly what I was going to say.
It's The Notebook.
Well, of course. Legitimately, the man has had so many great performances in the last couple of years that, like, it's hard to...
Oh, he's in Remember the Titans. I forgot about that.
Yeah, man. He's fantastic in that SNL sketch.
Oh, The Big Short. He's great in
the Papyrus sketch in The Big Short. And SNL.
Did you know he's playing Ken in the upcoming Barbie movie?
Yes.
Why is that perfect casting, and why do I love and hate that?
Right? Oh, it's going to be delightful.
Can I count Papyrus as, like, my favorite,
I mean, you can. I'm not going to stop you.
Because, like, I do think
it's our podcast. We can say whatever we want.
Like, I do think that's my favorite, like my favorite performance of his, because it's hilarious, but he plays it so straight.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved him in Are You Afraid of the Dark and The Mickey Mouse Club.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Wait, like, was he one of the kids in Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah, he was in an episode.
Oh my god. Just like Hayden Christensen was in Goosebumps.
He was also in Goosebumps.
Oh my god. All right, because he's Canadian.
Goosebumps was an American show.
Oh my god. No, it wasn't.
Yep.
Oh no, Are You Afraid of the Dark is Canadian.
Yep.
But that's how he probably got the role in Goosebumps.
I technically have both of those available to find, so we can watch those this afternoon.
I'm fine with those.
Also,
he was also a Mickey Mouse kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was one of the Mickey Mouse clubs.
Yeah.
From 93 to 95.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's the years that the show was on. I don't actually... No, he was in 3 episodes. Okay. Honestly, I would have to give it to... Oh, crap. I can't list 3 movies, but, like...
Fuck it.
The Big Short, he was amazing. Like, that movie's just really good.
I still have to see The Big Short.
It's interesting. It's... Between that and, like, the two sleeper movies that I think, actually, I want to say both of them, like... I want to say it won Best Picture.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it won Best Adapted Screenplay.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Best Picture. But Oscar-wise for films, that one and Spotlight, just amazing movies.
And I still gotta see Spotlight.
And he's not in Spotlight, so that's not one of my picks.
No, of course, but
it's such, like, both of them
that's Mark Ruffalo, ain't it?
Yep. Both of them are so not what I expected.
Yeah.
That they just worked. And again, Ryan Gosling was amazing in Big Short, but Nice Guys was so good because again, it was such a great comedic performance.
Yeah.
It does make me want to watch First Man, like the Neil Armstrong movie.
Yeah.
I just haven't got to it yet.
I've heard he's really good in it.
But no, I feel like he's someone who I think genuinely could continue to have like just a really great acting career.
Yeah.
As life continues.
Honestly, he wouldn't be like if they decide to recast Indiana Jones, like he'd be another great choice.
I don't know if I'd want to. I don't know. I don't want him tied to a franchise. You know.
No, and like that's kind of the strength of Gosling is like he's just done so many things. Like the only franchise I'd ever want him to be attached to is if they did end up doing sequels to The Nice Guys and they just kept that going. Him and Russell Crowe, because they're just great together. I know a lot of people give him. A lot of people make the joke that like all he does is like stare at things in Blade Runner 2049. But what I really enjoy about his performance in that film is like he goes through such a journey as far as like how his character behaves because of the way the story goes for him.
Well, like, I mean, I could make that argument for any of the film that he's in. Like, even if you look at Drive, he's staring at everything.
Yeah, well, that's the big joke. Is like, oh, more great staring off at the distance acting from Gosling.
But that's the thing. If he can act,
he
can act while just staring into the distance,
yeah, like,
and you get a range of emotion. It's not just someone staring blankly. You can read what's going on with his character.
100%. Like, he is conveying exactly what his character is thinking, even when he is staring blankly. Like, it's great shit. But, like, in Blade Runner 2049, I love how, like, he starts off as, like, he is, like, he's a machine. Like, and he's going through his, like, he's on his baseline. And then the more he, like, gets revealed about, like, who he might be, he starts to, like, act more human, but, like, not quite human because he's a replicant, so he's, like, trying to be more human because he thinks he's human, and then he gets that whole thing, like, crushed from under him, and then he starts to lose that emotion again, and, like, it's just awesome to watch, like, those, like, changes in his performance as stuff gets revealed throughout the story. Like, it's really good shit.
Yeah.
And then for me with Drive, it's just, like, it's watching this, like, again, it starts off and it's like, oh yeah, he's, like, you know, he's committing crimes, but, like, yeah, he's just, like, this really, like, kind of, like, understated, like, guy, to, like, where you get towards the end of the movie where, like, the violence starts to ramp up and you're like, holy shit, like, what did this guy friggin' do before this movie? Like, it gets so friggin' good. Like, Drive is fantastic. But I would agree, like, The Nice Guys to me is just one of my favorite performances from him because he's just so goddamn funny. And his character is so well crafted as far as, like he's just a complete screw up, but he's the guy who actually, like, again, the dynamic between the two is like Russell Crowe is a man who is not a detective, but he's trying his best to be that, like, investigator and be professional, and then Ryan Gosling's just a complete fuck up, but he's the actual detective.
Well, that's where it was funny, and this takes it back to, like, earlier when I was watching LA Confidential. I mentioned to you that, like, timeline-wise, LA Confidential could totally be a prequel to The Nice Guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because with Russell Crowe's character, when he's on the police force in the 50s, he's the enforcer. He's the muscle guy.
Yeah.
He beats people up. And then you
Russell Crowe being that guy never...
And you cut to him in The Nice Guys, and that's what he's doing,
yeah,
just not with the police force anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of LA Confidential, he leaves the police force and moves away.
Yep.
And then he comes back, and that's where my theory is, like, and then he comes back, changes his name, so that any LAPD people wouldn't recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
And the timeline lines up, because it's 20 years later.
It's an interesting theory, and honestly, it kind of checks out.
Like, it works great, and it just makes Nice Guy, it gives that extra layer of backstory to his character in The Nice Guys.
Mm.
And especially when you look at how even his character, as much as rough as he is, how his character looks after women.
Mm.
Like, that's his whole thing, is basically in LA Confidential, because his mom was abused and his mom was roughed up a lot. He takes extra care whenever he sees a woman in a compromising situation.
Yep.
And so then that, to me, mirrors his behavior in The Nice Guys.
Yeah. Although he does have that one narration moment where he says marriage is buying a house for someone you hate.
I mean, at the end of LA Confidential, he leaves with Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
And she's never seen again.
Wait a minute, no, but Kim Basinger, I'm pretty sure, is in The Nice Guys.
No.
Isn't she the senator?
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I'm pretty sure that's Kim Basinger. I could be wrong, but...
No, she totally is. So she came
So your
back
whole theory doesn't work!
Do they interact with each other?
Yes. There's a couple scenes where they interact with each other.
But they both came back, changed their names, and that's the whole thing.
They don't even acknowledge.
Exactly.
Oh my god, the girl in The Nice Guys is actually Russell Crowe's illegitimate daughter.
Yes.
It all makes sense now. It's all connected. The LA Confidential cinematic universe is in full swing. But no.
That could be why they he gets mixed up in that stuff, is because technically it's a family connection.
Oh my god.
But they can't acknowledge it because it would harm her
political career.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. You moved the table and everything.
I sneeze like
thunder.
Yes, thank you. My brain shut off because of my sneeze.
Apparently. Yeah, no. But yeah, that's I think that brings things to a conclusion with that massive sneeze you just did.
You're welcome.
Unless you want to ask another question, we went through that one pretty quickly.
No, I don't think so. I think that's a good way to end it.
I think so. Unless you want to do your favorite Russell Crowe performance now.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Why are you fishing for more?
Oh, for fun. I'm having fun.
Do you have more questions?
Off the top of my head, I kind of do want to talk about Russell Crowe performances now, though.
I don't think I have any.
You're not a fan of Maximus?
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Gladiator.
No.
Oh my god. My personal favorite performance of Russell Crowe is Dr. Jekyll in The Mummy.
See, that's the thing. You just want to make jokes about it.
About him fighting and fighting and fighting.
I'm saying you're not even wanting to have a serious conversation. You're just wanting to make fun of poor Russell Crowe.
I mean, he is fantastic in LA Confidential, obviously.
Quick and the Dead.
Quick and the Dead, also fantastic. I love his character in The Quick and the Dead. Like the pacifist who's actually like the best shot in town. Like, I enjoy that so much.
310 to Yuma, I really liked him in.
Mm-hmm. And like, despite your opinions on Man of Steel as a movie, he was a really good Jor-El.
I mean, he was an adequate.
Adequate?
Yeah, like, he wasn't the best Jor-El I've ever seen, but he wasn't the worst either. Apparently, he's Kraven the Hunter.
What?
There is a Kraven the Hunter. Like, I was looking at his filmography, and it's listed as filming currently.
Well, I know Aaron Taylor Johnson's playing Kraven the Hunter.
Maybe he's playing... Oh, okay, so he's playing Kraven's dad.
That checks out because, like, again, if you go back like 20 or 30 years, that's exactly who you would cast as Kraven the Hunter.
Yes. Yeah, and it literally just started shooting like a week ago.
Yeah. I wonder how the Morbius performance is going to affect that one.
Kraven is a bit more of a dynamic character than Morbius.
Yes, he is.
So depending on how well it is and like how well it's done.
Like,
well, I guess it's a different. It's not Kravenoff. He's Kravenoff. Oh, they could have changed the name. That's interesting.
Honestly, Morbius should have been a Blade villain. That's how they should have started him off. That's what they were going to do in the original Blade movies. There's actually an alternate ending where there's like a guy on a rooftop like that Blade sees, and they were going to have Morbius be in the second movie. Didn't end up happening, of course, but
well, the guys who wrote the scripts are best known for Iron Man and Punisher Warzone.
Interesting.
And then the third writer is Expendables 2, Equalizer, and Magnificent 7, like the remake.
Interesting.
So there's a potential. There's potential that it might be.
I want it to be good. Like, cause yeah, Kraven the Hunter, like, of all the, like, Spider-Man villains that you could give, like, a spin-off to...
He is the most dynamic. And, like, because he's one of those characters who just has... Like, he's not a straight-up villain, but he's not a straight-up hero. Like,
yeah.
He actually has... It's actually very much a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, where he takes a serum, which makes him go crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Like, I'm curious to see how it goes and the type of story that they tell.
Yeah, 100%. Alrighty. Well, then I suppose that wraps things up for this episode of A Feast of Films.
Where can the good people find you?
You could find me on Instagram at ThatJProsser. You can find me on YouTube under my name, Jesse Prosser. And then you can find Ethan and I's feature film, Damn Rights, on realhouse.org. Give it a rent, give it a buy, give us some support.
Do it.
Where can the people find you, Ethan?
You can find me on Instagram at Ethan R. Hill, and you can also find me on YouTube at Ethan R. Hill. And Damn Rights, same place he said.
Exactly.
All right, that said, I guess that's another episode of Feast of Films. We'll see y'all next time.
Yep, unless we're dying of horrible flu diseases again.
Well, it'll still be next time. It's just a matter of...
Next time, whatever that is.
Exactly.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.